Okay, guys, sorry about that. I don't like when people get super close to me. I mean, in my car. Anyway, yeah, Travis did such a beautiful job at his Bible reading that he did, and he overcame a lot of his fears, and his speech got better. But it just goes to show you though that because he was a good listener, he liked to listen most of the time. I mean, he told me that he would get anxiety when I stopped talking. And I mean, I've had guys that I've talked to that they said, and that's the thing, I'm a talker, so like if you don't like talking or you don't like to listen, then we're not going to work out, right? But that guys have told me that they're that it's like my talking would be like music to their ears, or it's like therapy for them in the way that they just like someone who has like a continuous talk, and it actually made the reason why it calmed him down is he said, this is what he told me. I remember he literally said to me, he said, Mel, I know when you're talking, the more you talk, the less I have to say. Which could be a problem, right? It could be an issue when you're trying to actually help somebody and help them work on their fears or their issues or their things or whatever, and you can't get them to talk, right? But anyway, I just never forgot that because it was like you kind of like fit perfectly like a glove, right? But like all the guys pretty much that I've ever been attracted to, in some way, shape, or form, we were like opposites attract. Now, I learned a long time ago when I took a course, when I have a degree in computer networking, believe it or not. But when I went to take that course at Kaiser College, there was a opening course that we had to take. It was called Strategies for Success. It was like a beginner. It was like the first class that everybody had to take before they entered into their actual course, right? Anyway, it was taught by a marriage counselor. She was a marriage counselor, I guess by trade or by night or whatever, but she also taught and in psychology or whatever. So anyway, this course was about helping you to basically succeed in school and all that kind of stuff. But the way she taught, there was lots of things she taught in the course that I never forgot. Like I never forgot. Me and my mom, we actually both took this course, and we still talk about to this day things that we learned in that course. One of them was that how opposites really do attract, but that it's good if you have the same value system. For example, if you believe in the same God, and if, like in my case, I don't believe in pagan holidays. Like I might sell gift baskets all day long, and I'm not gonna put I'm not gonna put like no Santa Claus in these gift baskets because I know he don't exist, right? I don't care what my customers do when they buy the basket. If they want to put Santa Claus, I don't care what they do. You want to add Santa Claus, you want to add your rabbit for Easter, which we all know, rabbits don't exist. We all know this. We know there's no Easter Bunny. We know there's no Santa Claus, stuff like that. Me personally, because I don't celebrate those holidays, even though I make gift baskets and they're seasonal. I make seasonal gift baskets, right? But me personally, I don't actually celebrate these holidays, right? So having somebody who, it's good if you can find someone, who also doesn't celebrate holidays, right? That's a value system that is considered the same, right? But when you have personality traits that can be opposite, and I learned this in this course. She taught that the opposite in personalities, though, can make for one whole person, right? So if you're quiet, or if he's quiet and you're not, and you're talkative, that's good. Like if one person is more laid back, the other person is high strung. What I also have noticed is like if a guy is more on the laid back side, because I tend to kind of attract that type too. And I can tend to be a little high strung. I have different personalities. It really just depends on who I'm around, right? But I can definitely be high strung naturally. I don't need to get high. I don't need to drink. I don't need to nothing. I can just naturally be high strung, right? Well, it's usually when he's more laid back, then it makes for a balance. It's like a balance, right? And she taught that in that course. She talked about how the opposites in traits are actually pretty good, but having the same value system is what you want the same, especially when it comes to things like money, right? So like if I'm a hustler, like I like to hustle. I like to get out there and work and do different things. Like I like to hustle, But you are married to someone who is like, wants you home every day at the same exact time, with his dinner on the same time. I mean, yeah, that's cool. But for someone like me who likes to be, who likes to hustle, if he doesn't understand your hustle, if he doesn't understand that there might be times that you're out there hustling, getting it, whatever you're doing or whatever, he's going to have a hard time with that, right? So it's good if, like, when it comes to money or that kind of thing, money for sure, and value systems when it comes to family. Like for example, if you, like me, I believe in having family live with you, you know, especially if they need help or whatever. I prefer family living with me, right? But if the person you're with is like against having family live with you, then that could make for a struggle, right? Because that's a value system that you don't share. So there's a difference between personalities, you know, and that is good to be opposite. But if your value system is the same or similar, like if you guys can work out similar, then that's what you want to be similar, right? But like for me, I also have had so many guys say to me things like, I didn't think you would even let me, you know, take you out, or you would ever, you know, talk to someone like me and everything. But the thing is that it's like I'm not into the typical type of men that most women like when it comes to money, or when it comes to, I mean, honestly, I've always actually been that way, right? It's just that, you know, when the kids were little and everything, I definitely was like, you know, if I'm going to get with somebody, he needs to be, you know, more stable, so I don't have to worry about this, that, and the other, because I got these kids. And I felt more overwhelmed with having the boys, right? But I don't have to worry about that now or whatever. And so who I've always been, since even my first husband was here or whatever, is that I've always been, I'm independent and had money or whatever, did my own, you know, like, we worked together with our money, but like I've always made my money, he made his money, and we did the things we needed to do together or whatever, right? But in general, like, I tend to like men that work with their hands, you know. My first husband was a barber, but like construction workers, you know. I'm gonna tell you the honest truth, how I really feel. This is how I really truly feel. Everybody thinks I don't know if they think I'm lying when I say stuff like this, but I would take a garbage man every day, all day long, any day of the week, over some narcissistic, controlling, you know, president at a bank. Okay? No, give me that man that works with his hands. First of all, garbage truck drivers, garbage men, whatever. First of all, if you ever, and this isn't always true, but I feel like this is like about 75% true, right? If you ever actually just watch your garbage men or whatever, they are fine. And let me tell you why they're fine. Because they have to get up and down off that truck, and they have to sling that, whatever, their arms are usually nice and built. They usually got nice built arms. And they got, it's a, you know, good paying job. They got the regular hours, you know, they got the insurance or whatever. And, you know, that's the kind of thing I like, you know, like, I'm not trying to deal with no, honestly, I'm not the type to just want this guy who can just, you know, fly anybody, anywhere, and they have all this money, and they got all these secrets. They got all these secrets, all these secret lives. They might be married to a different woman in every state or whatever. No, I like the more simple, and especially guys that work with their hands, you know, like when a man can actually like, hang something up, you know, use a hammer, has a toolbox or something like that. Like, I'm impressed by things like that. Honestly, even my second husband, even he worked with his hands. He did plumbing. And I loved that. You know, I was impressed by that. Like, especially like reading blueprints and things like that. I remember thinking that was so impressive to be able to do that, to be able to connect things. To me, that's vision, that's art. You know, even like in construction and stuff, like you can kind of like see what a structure is going to be. You know, like all of that. That's just, to me, that's amazing. That's really cool, right? Yeah, I tend to like guys that, you know, I don't like soft hands. I don't like no soft hands. I don't like no paper pushers. So the thing is that I've always gotten this my whole life. Like every guy I've ever talked to, like, oh, I'm surprised you'd ever like somebody like me or whatever. So this is kind of where confidence has to come in with a guy. They have to have confidence to talk to someone like me, right? But because I know, and I could always sense, and I could always tell in school and everything, that guys it's like they would have to like work themselves up. I could just see it in them sometimes, you know, to talk to me, especially in school and stuff, when you would see a guy kind of approach you and then leave, approach you and then leave, or whatever. Like you could tell they were just like working themselves up, right? that it always like, oh, let me just make sure I hear them out. Let me just, yes, of course, and I guess that's where I would get taken, I could get taken advantage of. I really haven't been taken advantage of. I really, the last situation I had with a narcissist, I mean, it is what it is. It was unexpected. I've known him for 10 years and I never saw that trait in him, but it's there. Anyway, nonetheless, though, for the most part, I would have to say I've been pretty lucky in love, I met the perfect guy before this last engagement situation. And we were together about a year or whatever. And, he liked to hustle just like I did. I liked to hustle. He was my opposite. He definitely was the opposite of me in a lot of ways. But again, I thought it was perfect. I liked it. I mean, he had to move, so it didn't work out because of family stuff or whatever. Oh God, and he has a controlling mom. Oh God. I don't know. I feel bad for some people have to learn about their family on their own at some point. I try to tell him. I try to call him and tell him what she did, back me into the parking lot. Like, that's just crazy. It's crazy, a grown man. But anyway, nonetheless, we had a great relationship. I mean, I liked opposites attract. I love that. In fact, it's really how I roll. I don't, I'm just not into that typical person. And my girlfriends, and they'll be like, oh, I met this guy, whatever. And, he owns this, that, and this, that. And, I don't mind him being a go-getter like me. I don't mind that. It's just, it always seems to be like when I meet them or when I see them and if we shake hands or whatever, and they got soft hands and their hands are like fish. They're like this. I don't know. I don't like that. Like, I'm not into that. I'd rather have a more steady Eddie, stable, steady Eddie kind of personality. Like just calm, cool, collected, no switch up, no change up in the personality, and preferably, that they're opposite, and that's how Travis was that way, not controlling, very easygoing. When Travis got upset, and it happened about once a year, he would go ballistic over something, but it was always a buildup. And I used to try to get him to help him to not be that way, to like, let it all out now. But, yeah, he, that was pretty much how he was. But for the most part, he was always like very laid back or whatever. Anyway, I had this guy talk to me the other day in the store, and he said that to me. He literally said to me, he was putting away, I guess I don't know if it was Coke or Pepsi or something. I don't know what brand it was or whatever, but I've seen him several times putting stuff away, and he finally talked to me or whatever, and he was like, oh man, as many times, he's like, I've seen you all the time and I've always been wanting to ask you out. And I was like, oh, I hear that all the time. And I just say, you know what, I like to tell you guys, like, you should have confidence. You should have confidence, because you just really don't know what that person is, right? I mean, maybe it has been your experience that most women want crazy money or whatever. Oh my gosh, it is so hot. You know what? Today, guys, it is like so hot. I mean, it's not really hot. It's 75 degrees. Oh man, I'm happy. I'd rather it be 75 degrees than winter or be snow outside. Oh my God, definitely. I just realized, like, oh wow, I need my AC on. Anyway, I just wanted to say, tell you guys to go ahead and have confidence in yourselves. You just never know when, or who you're talking to and what they like, Like, also growing up, I was I was always I had a crush on like Michael Landon. Because my grandma, my grandparents and them, they watched Little House on the Prairie. But I loved Little House on the Prairie, right? I mean, even in my adult life, I will, like, I could be very boring, especially when I've had like a crazy week, or especially if I'm out doing makeup, or I'm out with a lot of people a lot, like I'm just doing if I'm having a busy time, a lot of shows or a lot of networking or whatever, and it's a lot of energy or whatever. I love to just come home and watch something that's a rerun that my brain doesn't have to think about, but also it's like a very simple way of living or something like that, like a real kind of calm, But I always loved the father on Little House on the Prairie. Travis, my husband, used to make fun of me because, okay, let me tell you what Travis used to say. He used to say all the time to me, he used to say that I was the finest librarian he ever met. because I like to read and stuff like that. Like, I like to feed my brain with stuff, and I'm always doing something too. So it's definitely like I'm doing things. It's not that I'm not doing things or whatever. I'm hands-on or whatever. But because I always spit out facts or whatever, he would say to me that I was the finest looking librarian because I was boring. I took my vitamins, and I didn't, I'm not going to party. I'm not shooting up no drugs. No, we're not doing that. I'm not doing no drugs. I'm not out here trying to I'm not scheming. I'm not going to be scheming. I'm not jealous. I'm not getting into fights with people. I'm just not that way. I'm not about that life. You know what I mean? I'm more about peace. I want my peace, And if somebody is irritating or annoying and they're constantly, they want to fight with me or argue, whatever, I've got to go. I'm not going to sit here and fight. I'm actually literally laid back in that way, or not even laid back, just I'm just not going to fight them back. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to invite them. I'm going to not hang around them as much or whatever, But I don't get into stuff. I'm not going to gossip, and I don't need to know about who's doing what with this person or that person or whatever. That's just not my lifestyle. I'm not very, I'm not nosy like that. I'm just not nosy. I don't care. I don't have the kind of, I really don't have the space, the mental space, to hold a lot of energy like that. And the thing is, for me personally, because of that, because I feel like I have so much of my own stuff that I'm working on. I have so many of my own projects and things that I'm working on, and my own things that I'm whatever, that I just literally don't remember drama stuff that people talk to me. I've had girlfriends literally say to me, "Remember when I told you blah 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 blah, and I told you all about him or this or that?" And I'm like, maybe, vaguely. And it's really because I don't remember, because I can't, and I'm not going to hold on to that. I really am not, and so anyway, but yeah, opposites attract. I went off on a tangent there, I'm sorry. That was the point. Opposites, they do attract, yeah. And so I just try to encourage all you men out there, to not to be afraid, to talk to whoever, don't be afraid, because you just never know. You just really never know how that person really is and what they really like. And maybe they're looking for their complete opposite of who they had last. You just never know. And also, I remember when I first moved to Atlanta, I remember one of the things I remember thinking was, I remember thinking oh my gosh, because my husband had just died, and I was like, well, I have these kids now, and, what guy is going to want somebody who has these, 2 little kids or whatever? Do you know how many men actually love that? I can't even count how many guys actually said that to me. They were like, oh, I love that you have kids. I love that you have little kids. I had one guy even say he wished I had more. He really, really wished I had more than 2, which was crazy to me. I didn't expect that, right? But anyway, so opposites really do attract, and especially though if you have the same value system, you believe in the same God, or maybe you both do celebrate holidays, or maybe you both don't celebrate holidays, or especially when it comes to money. I think they say people break up the most over money, and also probably, I think, infidelity. I don't remember what the other, but I remember money for sure being on the list. When it comes to things like loyalty, I know for me personally, for me to get to a point in a relationship to feel like I've got to step out or whatever, you best believe I will have given that man ample opportunity. I mean, warning, opportunity. I'm going to say my piece. I'm not a woman who holds my tongue. I don't hold things in. I don't hide things. Exactly what you see is what you get with me. You're going to know if I'm happy or not happy. And I'm going to tell you. And in my marriage, my second marriage, I definitely was very vocal. I mean, very vocal. Wrote things down. I mean, sent them in. I sent it in letters. I sent it in, on my phone. I sent things like, hey, I need you to do this. I need you to, look at this, this, that, and the other, whatever I was complaining about, right? But I've always been very vocal, right? It's really up to the person if they want to actually, if they love you enough to change certain things, right? If they love you enough to change certain things, they will, right? Now, I don't believe that you should get with somebody and make them change, okay? Because that's wrong. You really should let them kind of show you who they are. But sometimes they do change. And I hear this from other women, and I've experienced now, and I can say I experienced this twice now in my life. that after getting married, they switch up. It's like almost like, and it's really unfortunate when a man feels like they can let their guard, they can be different now that they got you. Like they don't have to do the things that they did do to get you in the first place, right? It's like they just like, I don't need to, it doesn't matter, I don't care, I already got her. These men, some men, not all men, but obviously men like that or whatever, they think that a piece of paper is gonna keep a woman by your side. That's not it. It should be the way you treat her on a regular basis, on a consistent basis. And when you have problems or you have issues or whatever, especially if it's something that she's complaining about over and over and over again, if you actually love her in an agape way, you actually love her, you will work on those things, whatever they are, and she will do that for you. I know I would do that too. Like if it just depending on what they are. If you're asking me to not sell my gift baskets or to not do makeup or to, not listen to certain music in my own car, or, you can't go take certain jobs because you might come home too late or whatever. And it's just a constant barrage of changing basically all these things that they saw you do, literally that you were doing when they met you, right? That is what you call dream killing, dream snatchers, right? They're stepping on your dreams, right? Because it's like all of a sudden now they met you doing this XYZ, but now they're married. It's like, nah, stay home and cook my dinner and watch the news and, go to bed at 7:00. Okay. Yeah, that's not going to work. You're going to, eventually that's just, for someone like me, it's like, that's kind of like stamping your light out eventually. And it's like, you suffocate, you feel suffocated and you got to go. That's like your freedom, right? That's not what I'm talking about. When somebody says though, hey, don't talk to me like that. Can you lower your voice, or can you be more respectful when you talk to me? Can you, like things like that, right? When somebody asks you that, when your mate or your boyfriend, whoever, whatever, asks you to make those changes, right? That's what you should be humble enough to change. Like, yeah, I need to like lower my voice and not scream or not yell or whatever, not bark at you, stuff like that, right? So that's what I mean. Those are changes that when you mention something that you would like for them to change or whatever, they should be, if they love you enough, they should be willing to work on that, right? But it's like, if I marry somebody who does plumbing for a living or whatever, right? And then after we get married, I'm like, you know what? I don't like that you do plumbing. I don't like that you have that job, or, that's a low level job or whatever people want to think. First of all, plumbers make good money. First of all, okay. First of all, plumbers make some good money. But, anyway, but if I was to say that, like, you know what, find another job or whatever, and all of a sudden I just tried to change that or whatever, that's wrong. I mean, that's just really wrong. I mean, it's really me. Like, it would be me that has the actual problem, right? So, anyway, that's what I'm talking about. Anyway, so talking about opposites attract, yeah, I think that they make for really good relationships personally. And I would love, more people to embrace that, because people think a lot of times when they marry the same person, a person that's just like them or whatever, in so many ways. Now, again, I don't mean value system. I don't mean values. I'm talking about traits, personality traits and things like that. You think that's good, but it's actually not. It's actually better when you have opposites attract. Yeah. And also for you guys not to be, not to lose confidence, have some self-confidence about you, because a lot of women, especially, honestly, I feel like a lot of women, even if they're pretty or whatever, I mean, I'm talking about, that's that pretty privilege thing that people think, that I think works against us. Because a lot of people will either not shoot their shot or will not talk to you because they think you're stuck up, they think you're conceited. Even girls, like I told you, I've had this before many times, where women have told me, I thought you were conceited, I thought you were like this, and I'm just the opposite. I'm actually just the opposite. I'm actually like, I don't have low self-esteem, but I'm not thinking high of myself, again, because of a skin tone or whatever, nationality or where I'm from or anything. No, I just don't believe like that. My value system when it comes to all that has to do with God, and has to do with my God and my spirituality, and that's how I view other people. Like, that's where your beauty comes from, right? The Bible talks about that. Like, your beauty is, in your wisdom. And anyway, it's all about character. It's all about character. It's all about you know, what you bring, how you show up to circumstances, right? How you show up in the world in general. Do you have people's back? You know, are you a nurturer? Do you love? Are you caring? Are you loving? You know, those types of things, they matter the most. And I actually feel like most women, I've talked to several women actually who have expressed to me that they did feel like me. They were like, yeah. I mean, I actually do know plenty of women who are like, they don't care about like if a guy is working for the city or whatever. They just want a respectable man. A man that's respectable, who's not going to play no games. Who's not going to play no games. Who's not going to make you try to compete or try to put you in, you know, some sort of position where it's like, you know, or they're out there cheating, you know, or doing the most or whatever with other, you know, staying out late, smoking, drinking, getting high, whatever. I mean, that definitely doesn't fly for me either. I would definitely be like, bye. Now, if a woman doesn't really love you or really care about you, or if a woman is done, if she's done with you, you're going to know, because she's going to be like, yeah, you can have him every day, twice on Sunday. She's not going to care at all where you at, what you're doing, or whatever. Of course, then you got the overly controlling type, you know, women who are just controlling just to be controlling. And it's really their own lack of self-esteem and their fears and their projections onto whoever, you know. But that doesn't even... super controlling, like, well, really, super controlling doesn't even mean you love that person. In fact, it's actually not love. And it's certainly not mature love. If they are controlling and they're that way, they got some self-work that they need to have done or whatever. But anyway, opposites attract. That was the point of this little this video that I wanted to put out on this thought process. Let me get up out of here. So talk with you soon.